Hi everyone, welcome back to the RC Movement Podcast, performance hacks for your life, your fitness and your business. I'm your host, Rich Cohen, and today's episode 11. We're going to be discussing about the mother and father in all of us. As we're talking now, probably about a week away from the due date for having our first child, myself and my fiancée Kaylee. And we're both extremely excited and nervous a little bit about this incredible experience that we're about to have. And you know, a lot of people I bump into over the week, or you know, clients and friends and family, of course. And some of you listeners as well, firing in questions like, are you ready? The question is, are you guys ready? Are you guys ready yet? And, you know, like, I don't know. I don't think, it's like, yes, we are ready. I think we've got all the, you know, we've got all the material things that we need. We need to get all of the cots, and we've got the pram, and we've got the car seat. And obviously we're getting a car so we can use a car seat. And we've got all the, you know, the nappies and the diaper and the wipes and the bath. We've got all the material stuff. We've got all the stuff. So all the stuff is here. And are we ready? You know, that's a great question. You know, because like, you know, are you ready to bring a life into this world? Yeah, definitely ready to bring a life into this world. Are we ready for him to be here? Are we ready for him to be a permanent fixture in our lives? Then yes, absolutely. Are we ready for that? Are you ready to becoming a father? Well, that is an unknown, because that one for sure is going to be a work in progress. And, you know, I think the more I speak to a lot of my friends and family, and you know, a lot of people out there who've got families, they tell you about some stories that they have about, oh God, you know, the sleepless nights and some of the explosions that happen and all the fun stuff. But they also talk to you about all the beautiful stuff. You know, the first, you know, the cuddles and the first laugh and the first giggle, and you know, just holding their skin close to yours and smelling the new smell of the new baby is beautiful as well. So yes, we're ready in many aspects, but you know, stepping into the shoes of being a father for the first time, that's something that is going to be definitely going to be a work in progress, and I believe that that's something that I can do well. But also there's fears as well, right? So there's fears of, you know, am I going to do it right? They're like sponges. Everything you say or you do or the actions that you take, we're going to remember them, you know. So it's a big responsibility having a child, for sure. So yes, we are ready, and part of the episode today is talking about how really I personally believe there's a mother and father in all of us, and in a lot of ways we all represent a level of being a father or being a mother in all areas of our life. For example, anytime, you know, you'll adopt various traits of being a mother or a father with work, with your family, with your friends, and in certain relationships. Some of the questions that you ask, the nurturing, the coaching, these sort of aspects and these sort of traits are father and mother traits that we continually practice. We even do it in our romantic relationships as well. I know that there's certain aspects you've probably seen this as well with my relationship with my fiancée Kaylee. There's certain aspects where I see her and the things that she does, or when she talks to me about in certain situations or context, I can visualize her as a mother, and I see some of the nurturing and motherly traits that she has, and I know that she's going to be a great mother. Same as I get a lot of people that say the same to me as well. You know, they say, you know, see traits in me that they think that I'm going to be a good father, you know, but still there's fears that are there as well. So but you know, in general, we all adopt various sets of those traits over different areas of our lives. So one of the things we're going to explore a little bit on the program today. A child is really important to myself and also really important to my fiancée Kaylee. And I think that it's a great way of, I think it's just beautiful, and it's a beautiful. I know I've been fortunate enough to see my sister's kids grow up over the years. She's got 4 children who all live in New Zealand. She's got, her oldest is 7, and she's got 2 twins who I went over to New Zealand and helped her out at the beginning when they were just born, who are incredible, and they're just really, really fun. Crazy, so much energy, just bouncing around all over the place. They came to the lab in Bangkok last year, and they were climbing on the monkey bars and the frames and the cargo nets. It's just a riot. And then she's got her youngest one just recently, who's I think 18 months to 2 years now, and she's just beautiful. And they've all got their own little characters, and my sister's been a huge inspiration for me over the years because of how she adopts this incredible mothering skills and mothering ability that she has, and it all comes very unconscious for her. So it's very natural for her to these traits and these skills that she has is very, very natural. I've always been very inspired and motivated by the way that she runs her family, and she has her family, and obviously and her husband as well, and some of the traits that he has as a father as well are very inspiring. So I think I've been around it for the last sort of 7-8 years now, and yeah, having a child is really important because you get to really like invest yourself into something, into someone, and give everything to them, and it could create a different sense of love and a different sense of connection that you would never have with anybody else or anything else. And I always thought about when I was younger, like being a father and taking your kids to play football and taking them to school, picking them up from school, and it's that legacy, it's that next step. It's like living legacies. You can do it in many different ways. Doing it through a person, I think, is really amazing thing to do. That's just my personal opinion. And at 37 years old now, I really feel that the time is perfect. I've done a lot of I've done a lot of traveling. I've been lucky enough to do a lot of traveling. I've had a lot of great experiences. I've done a lot of personal development and growth, learning, and I've also had my fun. So in my teens, in my 20s, had a lot of fun. And business-wise, I've got where I wanted to get in my business, and so far, anyway, I've still got other goals that I want to achieve. But I feel like I'm in a really good position to be having a child right now. And I think having a really strong relationship as well is a really important part of motherhood and fatherhood. And when you've got that connection with somebody else, and it's a very, very deep connection, and there's things that we do for each other, and it's just very easy. I've been in a lot of relationships before in the past. Lovely, amazing people, incredible people. There was just a relationship didn't work, and that could have been for many, many different reasons. I think a lot of the reasons is you're just not potentially ready to be in a relationship. There's something else out there that you want to focus on. There's a bit of conflict there where you want to be in a relationship, but you also want to go and experience different things. You want to be an individual still. You still haven't found yourself. Still haven't found who you are as an individual. So how can we get together with somebody else if we still don't know who we are or who we want to be as an individual? So I think that plays an important part to it as well. And once you've explored, and once I think you've found out who you want to be as an individual, it's very easy. It becomes almost effortless getting into a relationship that's working for you, or a relationship that is you really believe is going to grow and develop and nurture and become even stronger. So now is the perfect time for me, and like I said, the relationship that we have is really, really good. We feel really strong about it, and I think the bond that we're going to have with the new child is going to get even stronger. And there's of course there's fears from the both of us. We're both as excited as you are, you're also like, a little bit scared. Are you going to do everything? Am I going to do everything right? Am I going to be able to put his diaper on properly? Am I going to be able to bath it? Am I going to, drop him in the bath? Or, you have all these fears, am I going to hurt him? And am I going to, there's lots of different fears that you have, and lots of different obstacles or limiting beliefs that we have about us, our ability to be a good father. And when I look back to when I was a kid, and some of the lessons learned from my parents, we were, they didn't do everything right. Of course, if you go all the way back to what we were eating. We were eating food out of a cardboard box. Breakfast cereals and white bread with butter and all of this kind of food that you realize now is kind of like basically junk food. So I was eating junk food for a period of microwave meals. I was eating junk food for a massive period of my life. And as a 90s kid, that's kind of normal for most people. I think a lot of people who were born in the 80s and grew up in the 90s were on a similar kind of like a high carbohydrate, low fat diet, and that was just the norm. That's what we were told for years. That was the best type of diet to have. And I mean, that's just a small part, but on the flip side, there was a lot of things that I did when I was a kid that I would love to encourage as a father. So having the independence to go out and meet your friends, go riding your bike around the streets, becoming streetwise and learning social skills, I think, was a really big important asset that I picked up when I was a kid. And that's something that I really would love to push and develop with my kids as well. Work ethic as well. I went out to work when I was 16 years old, and paper rounds and trying to earn a keep, washing cars, all the way through to getting my first real job when I was like 16, 17, which was like selling double glazing windows, getting important essential success skills in life, like how to sell, how to canvas, how to build rapport with people. Really, really important. I think foundational, fundamental skills. So there's lots of things from my childhood that I would want to. I think that lessons that I learned from being a child that I can apply now as a father, of things that I don't want, and also things that I do want for my kid. And again, I don't expect to get everything right, and I think it's such a huge responsibility taking on becoming a mother and becoming a father. I think it's all you can do is the best that you can do, and keep them safe, keep them, teach them things, give them experiences, share and be present during those particular moments, and just love like you've never loved before, and you'll receive just. I don't know this yet, but I personally believe that we'll receive love like we've never received as well. So it's going to be an incredible experience. And when I think about the kind of father I think I'll be, you can have great plans, and I think it's easy to have great plans and think about the type of father and the father-child relationship that you want. Very much like you would want to have a relationship with somebody else. And I think we have a huge opportunity as being a mother and father to help develop values and beliefs at a very young age, and also give them independence and their own identity, and let them feel that they can flourish with that and with no limitations. So not to limit their own creativity and their own personalities. Let that shine through. I think that's going to be a really important part of it. You can have all the best laid plans in the world. What is it that Mike Tyson says? you can, and I think he talked about this at the end of one of his fights, where the interviewer got him down for an interview and said, Mike, okay, so like, you got bossed around in the first 2 or 3 rounds before you managed to finish the fight. How did you, were you worried about the tactics that your opponent had? And, was he really stifling your skills? And he said, look, you can have all the best laid plans in the world until you get punched in the face. I love that quote, because I think that's very similar to being a father, and to have all the best plans to be a father. Or I kind of like use that in many different goals that you have. So that can just be in like training, or it can be in business, in sales and marketing. You can have great plans, but then you might get punched in the face by something, or something might not go the way you expected it to go. So change your strategy, do something different. And don't stop. Don't let it deter you. You have to continue going and pushing through the process. So like if there is something that pops up later on in the relationship, myself and the kid, it's going to be important to notice what went wrong, and then be conscious enough to be okay, to willing to change, so that I can communicate better, or we can have a better experience together, or we can get a better result together. So yeah, I do have a kind of idea about the kind of father I want to be. I just want to be myself as much as I can, and the more I'm myself, the more I believe that he'll feel like it's okay for him to be himself, and that's ideally what we're looking for. We're looking for, I'd like to help him explore his individuality, be social, have experiences, play, laugh, have fun, create, push boundaries, but also know that you do push boundaries. There are rules and there are disciplines to going over the top, and there'll be consequences. I think that's going to be really important to look at. And what will change? What will be the biggest change, I think? Well, of course, you got to start thinking about someone else as well as yourself. They can't just be. I think there's going to be a massive change. The independence, I think for sure, is going to change. The level of independence that we have right now, I think for both myself and Kaylee, we have a very high level of independence, which is lovely. But at a certain extent, I think we find that we have a lot of spare time on our hands that we can give to someone else, and we can give for someone else. So we both feel very ready for this. I think we just have to be, and I think things that will have to change. We have to be a lot more organized. Myself in particular, getting more organized, scheduling and organizing our lives way more in advance than we do now. And I think there's a general consensus right now. I think with a lot of young couples and also not just individuals. Like think about yourself as if you're listening to this podcast and you're a single or you're in a relationship, you're thinking this doesn't really anything really apply to me. But it might do, because when you think about yourself as an individual, you have this huge level of independence and ability just to go with the flow. So you can just see when someone says, "Oh, what do you want to do this weekend?" You can say, "I don't know, really. Let's just see what happens on a Saturday or Sunday." And we get to that Saturday, Sunday, you could be spontaneous, and you can go here and you can go there, and you can have sort of like last minute plans, and it will all fit together because you've got nobody else, or you don't have that many responsibilities to take care of. And I think for us, it's going to be a case of being a lot more organized, being proactive with scheduling dates and scheduling times to travel and to do things and to meet with other people, and also to schedule things like play dates. And we're also going to have to work as well. So we're going to have to eventually go back to work and integrate this beautiful gift of this child into our lives. So that's going to take a lot of organization and a lot of communication, like with the two of us in a relationship, and keeping him involved as well. And I think the more we can talk about, the more we can come back from work. And even though he's a child, he's developing and he's a baby, You can still come back and just talk to them about the day you had at work, what you did. At some point, they're listening to your voice. They don't want to understand the language, but they're listening to the voice. They're listening to your tone, and they're feeding off your body language, your physiology. And we know that, body language is 55% of our communication. Tone of voice is 38%, and just your language is 7%. So it doesn't actually matter what you say, as long as your body language, your energy, body language is relevant and is relatable to the child, and is got a good positive energy about it. Your tone of voice has got a nice energy about it. You can take your child on the journey with you through every aspect of everything you do in your life. So I think that's going to be a really nice thing. And I think just by this will also help improve having a baby will improve our lives so much more than it is already. And it's already, and now I'm thinking about it, that's just something that's just a light bulb moment right now for me. Just like thinking, holy shit, this is going to actually, not having a child is going to improve our lives drastically, because we are going to be more organized. We are going to be more focused, more conscious. Wow, it's an incredible bit of learning just then. So, very, very exciting moment, and a very, very, very exciting time. And I think and other things that have changed as well, I think I felt it in myself, was just a sudden difference in my focus. Really has changed quite significantly over the last 2 months or so, 1 month or 2 months, and it's not a conscious change. It's something that's changed unconsciously. So like there's been some sort of trigger, and I think over the last, no, I made me think about it. Over the last couple of years, I've actually been in business and in life. I've been looking for like a mentor, somebody to look up to, and somebody to really help sort of channel me in the right direction on my life. And there's lots of people that come into your lives as mentors, and I think there's a lot of people that they're not actually mentors. They're just people. They're just key figures in your life. They're part of your proximity. The people that you hang around with the most, the people that you spend a lot of time with. They're always teaching us, and we're always learning from them. And that's one of the reasons why we continue to want to be with them, because we're always learning, we're always experiencing, we value them as a person, and because we have a great connection with them. And I think there's probably about 5 to 6 people in your life that you continuously always want to be around, that you're learning through, you're discovering new things with, and you can bounce ideas off of. So, and I think, so in a certain way, I was always looking for a mentor, when I didn't realize that I had so many mentors already around me. Yeah, I wasn't entirely sure if I had somebody. I didn't really have that father figure, because my father passed. My mum and dad split up when I was young. Not this is not a boo-hoo story. And my stepfather, was great. He didn't necessarily want children, but him and my mum got together. My sister and I came as a part of the package, and he accepted us as into the family, and did the best that he could. Yet there's certain things that I think that I was always craving through having a father in my life, a father figure in my life. And over the last couple of years, I've been really still kind of looking for that father figure person. And I've been lucky enough to have, like I said, I mentioned before, I'm lucky enough to have lots of people in my life that are, and you probably have the same, a lot of people that are important to you. But in some kind of way, where the person whose shoes I wanted to fill to becoming a father figure are actually, those shoes are actually there for me to step into. And it's not for somebody else to step into. They're actually for me to step into those shoes and start to walk the walk of being this. It's this new personality. Is letting go of the old the old rich and now stepping into the new rich. And I don't think that will ever change. I think that will always be a constant all the way through our lives. And every 2 to 3 to 4 years, you'll feel this level of growth and change. And I think this is quite a big one for me. And it's not as drastic as it's been before in the past, but it's definitely a paradigm shift, a mindset shift to now step into becoming this father that I always wanted for myself. And now I've got an amazing opportunity to be that father for my kid. And that's where I personally believe that all of us have got it within us. There's a mother and father in all of us. And whatever we wanted in our lives, or wherever we felt was missing in our lives, at any moment in time, we have the ability to be that thing, or to be that person, to be that change. And there's a famous saying, isn't there? There's like, be the change that you want to see in your life. And that's where I believe that I am, and I think that's where we all can be. And we can do that by becoming straight away that person, taking on the identity of the person that we wanted in our lives. And imagine how powerful that is. Stepping into that, becoming that identity, becoming that alter ego of that person that we always wanted in our lives. And then what sort of things would that person do? What sort of behaviors would they have? What sort of actions would they take? What sort of goals would they go after? Who would they inspire? Who would they motivate? Step in and become that person. Step in and become that man or that woman. Step into it right now, and you make a decision that's who you want to be. And become it and be it. And that's where I am right now. It's very, very empowering, I have to say. So I've just been thinking about some fundamental core principles I think would be useful to have when managing having bringing a child into my life and becoming the father that I always want to be. And I think the key fundamental principles are going to be patience, of course. Definitely going to need to go easy on myself and not have high expectations that I'm gonna get everything right, because I'm not. I'm not gonna be perfect. So just having patience with myself, having patience with my partner, Kaylee, and having patience with my baby, of course. Having patience with time as well, which brings me to the next one, which is going to be presence. So being very present, but enjoying everything for what it is, seeing the beauty in everything, even the moments when it's tough and you haven't had much sleep and you're dealing with crying, or maybe they're not, the kids aren't doing what you wanted them to do, and just be it's okay, just to be there and find the pleasure in it, find the beauty in it. What are we learning? Asking myself, what am I learning here? How can I learn more and understand this child more, so that I can so that I can communicate better and I can be better, and then that he'll feel better, and he'll have a better and more enjoyable life if we can both communicate better with each other. So it's taking the presence and really understanding it and making it what you want it to be, rather than getting sort of like pissed off, upset and annoyed, and which is obviously going to happen as well at some stage. But I think the more presence you can be in that particular situation, so being present, being in the moment, is where I want to be. I want to be right there during absolutely everything. And then lastly would be my position. So positioning myself so that I'm in a good state. I'm in a good mood. It doesn't have to be good. Mood doesn't have to necessarily be good, but it just has to be a certain mood. So, when you're, if baby's crying or baby's upset, baby needs some attention. It's the middle of the night. Getting yourself into that, trying to snap yourself into a state of resourcefulness, a state of presence, a state of love, a state of care, a state of nurturing, a state of fathering, a state of using tone, using body language, using energy to connect with the kid, not just like language and saying the same things over and over again. Come on, be quiet. Come on, be quiet. Come on, be quiet. Maybe just change the tonation a little bit. Because if you continue to say like, come on, let's settle down. I'm just giving examples out there. And it's not responding, change it. And when you get some feedback, then okay, remember it, anchor that feedback, and anchor that particular state, so that you know, okay, well, he responds well to this, and then communicating that with my fiance as well, and then her communicating back to me where she finds success and where she's getting results as well. So I think those would be the key core principles. I think for parenting would be the patience, the presence, and then the position, getting yourself into a good position. So there will be my small takeaways, and that's episode 11 of There Is a Mother and Father. I think I really do think there's a mother and father in all of us, and there's mother and father in all of us that we have always, who we've always had around in our lives, a mother and father who have meant a lot to us, and taking those amazing situations and times from our parents, and then also looking at the time now, where we are now in our lives. It's not 37 years on from when I was a kid. Things are very different. Times change. Traditions are important. Yeah, it's a different world we're living in now. So it's also, I think, important to be not traditions are important, but it's also important to be progressive. So I think we need to take those sort of things into consideration. Like, time has changed, time has moved on, and we aren't operating on the same systems we were 35, 36 years ago. So we have technology, we have new ways of doing things. And I think it's unrealistic to expect us to parent the same way we did 35, 36 years ago. It's not really realistic. So as much as there's some great takeaways that we can use from our parents, there's also lots of things that we've learned over the last 36, 37 years, or however long it's been since you were a kid, that you can don't underestimate some of the skills and some of the beliefs and behaviors and actions that you take now that potentially our parents wouldn't have done. So I think that's really important to bear in mind. So if you're looking for that father or mother figure in your life, and you're waiting for someone to come in and step into those shoes and lead the way, just go and take a look in the mirror, because that person's staring right at you, and those shoes are there for you to fill in. And whenever you're ready, you can be the change that you want to see in this world. So again, as always, thanks so much for joining on. I appreciate having you guys every single week. Wishing you an outstanding day. With passion, with health, it's Rich.